tissue of soft tissue, also known as collagen. Soft tissue or collagen that is found in fossils. Very interesting discovery. Firstly, what is collagen? Collagen is a protein found in the tissue of animals. It is found in the skin, the bones, muscles, tendons, different tissues within animals. Now, when an animal dies, scavengers come and obviously chew up a large chunk of the animal flesh, if not all of it. Especially like, for example, crocodiles. Crocodiles can swallow an animal whole, including hoofs and horns. So that's some serious digestion that would consume the different parts of the animal. Well, scavengers, besides the crocodile, scavengers like hyenas as well, vultures come and consume the flesh of these dead animals. And what also follows after that, after the scavengers have done their work, microbes follow suit and finish off what is left of the carcass. This will mean that the carcass will remain there for hours or for a few years at most. It will not last more than that. So if the scavengers don't get it, then the microbes will certainly get to that carcass. And after a few years at most, that carcass is gone. You can look at the second picture, the picture on the right, as an example of this. Now, it is easy for the muscle of these carcasses, the muscles, the skin, to the eyes, for example, and the ears, for that to be consumed. But the collagen that is found in bones is tough, resilient, and flexible. And it remains for a long time after the death of the animal. So the other different organs will go, but the protein, this collagen that is found in the bones, will still remain for a long time. Now, if the animals don't get it, if the scavengers don't get it, then oxygen and other chemicals react with the collagen, breaking it down into tiny molecules over time. Now, the whole study of collagen is dependent on this very important thing. How long can it take for this process to remove all traces of collagen to take place? How long does it take for an animal to die today and for the collagen to continue to be found in the bone? How long can collagen be found in the bone before it is impossible to find any collagen? Well, it has been discovered and it has been proven that the higher the temperatures, the faster the decay or the faster the decomposition of collagen. And so the animals that die in Africa, especially the hot areas, will experience a faster deterioration, faster decomposition of the collagen as opposed to the animals that die in the North Pole. And so the higher the temperature, the faster the decay. Now, it has been noted that if a bone with collagen is held constantly at 7 degrees Celsius, that's a fairly low temperature. If an animal dies and the environment within which its carcass is kept at 7 degrees Celsius over a prolonged time without changing or fluctuating, it is at 7 degrees Celsius. 7 degrees Celsius or less, but it does not go above that. If it is kept at 7 degrees Celsius, then it has a longer chance of us finding the collagen in the bone. But it's not only the temperature that has to be at 7 degrees Celsius, but there is something else that is needed for the collagen to last a long time. At temperatures of 7 degrees Celsius, that's one. Number two, the animal carcass, the bone, has to be buried in optimum burial and preservation conditions, which means that this animal is not just left lying in the ground. It is not just exposed to the wind and the rain and direct sunlight and things like that. It has to be buried under optimum burial and preservation conditions. When these two conditions are met, number one, the carcass is buried in an environment that will be kept steadily at 7 degrees Celsius. If that can be done, number one. Number two, if the carcass is buried in the optimum burial and preservation conditions, it will take collagen hundreds of thousands of years to decompose. In other words, you will find collagen in the bone for hundreds of thousands of years. If that bone is buried in a place that is 7 degrees Celsius constant, and also if it is buried in optimum burial preservation, the collagen will last in the bone for hundreds of thousands of years, but it will not be more than 1 million years. That is impossible. That is a scientific fact. Collagen in the best conditions that we've just described, 7 degrees Celsius and optimum burial, the collagen will not last more than 1 million years. It's impossible. That cannot take place. Now that's a significant thing, because the facts on the ground are that fossilized creatures are not buried or preserved at optimum conditions. When animals die, they're scattered across the face of the earth, and hyenas do not bury what they would have left behind, and microbes as well do not do that. When an animal dies, whether it's from old age or it's been devoured by lions, whatever the case is, it is not buried. It is just left to float in the water or to lie exposed in the sun. That is not optimum burial. So that's condition number 1 violated. And that means that the collagen cannot possibly last as long as we have discussed previous to that. But not only that, but the temperatures cannot be vouched to have been 7 degrees Celsius constant from the time of birth. The temperatures always fluctuate. Very few times and in very few areas do you find an environment that constantly has 7 degrees Celsius because of the change in seasons. Therefore, we must conclude that fossils cannot have collagen if they are millions of years old. If a fossil is discovered and that fossil is truly millions of years old, if it's true that it's millions of years old, we should open up that fossil and look at the bone structure, and there should not be any collagen, because collagen in the natural world is not kept in optimum, is not buried in optimum conditions, and is not kept at 7 degrees Celsius. So the collagen cannot last hundreds of thousands of years old. But this is the news. Fossils have been found to have collagen. It would be unscientific and unreasonable to insist that those fossils are millions of years old, because those fossils have collagen. The evolution theory cannot explain how fossils have collagen, and yet collagen cannot in any way last for millions of years, and especially under the conditions we've mentioned, high temperatures, and it's not buried in optimum weather. The fossils, the collagen, has to be thousands of years old. So all those dinosaurs and all those things that we are constantly being shown and being told to be millions of years, it is not true. They are not millions of years. They are thousands of years old, because they have collagen. Now, because fossils are not buried in optimum conditions, and also because of the varied high temperatures they were exposed to, one must conclude that fossils with collagen are thousands of years old. And they can only be thousands of years old if there is a reasonable explanation given to show how scavengers were kept away from the carcasses, and also how microbe growth was limited. That and only then can we accept that these fossils can possibly be thousands of years old, when the theory or the teaching can show how scavengers were kept away to how microbe growth was limited. If that isn't there, then the fossil, the bone with collagen, has to be a few hundred years old at most. But now collagen in ancient fossils cannot be explained by evolution theory, which dates them as millions of years old. But collagen in ancient fossils harmonizes perfectly with the global account of Genesis 6 and 7, where animals died and had immediate burial, keeping away scavengers and causing the carcasses to have instant burial, where microbes have minimum activity. And these fossils could have been buried under such conditions and we would expect to find collagen in such an instance because according to the biblical account, the flood took place some 4,500 years ago, and hence we find collagen in the fossils. If you look at the geological column, that is constantly taught and presented as being showing a structure of different layers with different fossils in them, and those fossils are given millions of years. Look at that picture and notice how each of those specimen, each of those fossil discoveries have collagen in them. Some of them are described as being 400 million years old, others 40 million years old. Just look at them, including dinosaurs. My brothers and my sisters, dinosaurs are not millions of years old. They are fossils, they are fossil remains that have collagen. Any questions, any requests for Bible studies or any study material, please contact us at Third Angel Media and also at Pure Light Missions at the phone numbers, emails, and websites shown there. For further updates and videos and studies, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube, and also contact us on WhatsApp. May the good Lord bless you all. Amen.